According to Mark chapter 11. Now when they were getting near to Jerusalem, to Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, he dispatched 2 of his disciples and told them, "Go into the village that is within sight of you, and as soon as you pass into it, you will find a colt tied, on which none of mankind has yet sat. Loose it and bring it. And if anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' say, 'The Lord needs it and will at once send it off back here.'" So they went away and found the colt tied at the door, outside on the side street, and they loosed it. But some of those standing there began to say to them, "What are you doing loosing the colt?" They said to these, just as Jesus had said, and they let them go. They brought the colt to Jesus, and they put their outer garments upon it, and he sat on it. Also, many spread their outer garments on the road, but others cut down foliage from the fields. And those going in front and those coming behind kept crying out, "Save, we pray. Blessed is he that comes in Jehovah's name. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Save, we pray, in the heights above." And he entered into Jerusalem, into the temple, and he looked around upon all things, and as the hour was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. The next day, when they had come out from Bethany, he became hungry, and from a distance he caught sight of a fig tree that had leaves, and he went to see whether he would perhaps find something on it. But on coming to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season of figs. So in response he said to it, "Let no one eat fruit from you any more forever." And his disciples were listening. Now they came to Jerusalem. There he entered into the temple and started to throw out those selling and buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. And he would not let anyone carry a utensil through the temple. But he kept teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all the nations'? But you have made it a cave of robbers." And the chief priests and the scribes heard it, and they began to seek how to destroy him, for they were in fear of him, for all the crowd was continually being astounded at his teaching. And when it became late in the day, they would go out of the city. But when they were passing by early in the morning, they saw the fig tree already withered up from the roots. So Peter, remembering it, said to him, "Rabbi, see, the fig tree that you cursed has withered up." And in reply, Jesus said to them, "Have faith in God. Truly, I say to you, that whoever tells this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but has faith that what he says is going to occur, he will have it so. This is why I tell you, all the things you pray and ask for, have faith that you have practically received, and you will have them. And when you stand praying, forgive whatever you have against anyone, in order that your Father, who is in the heavens, may also forgive you your trespasses." And they came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests and the scribes and the older men came to him and began to say to him, "By what authority do you do these things? Or, who gave you this authority to do these things?" Jesus said to them, "I will ask you one question. You answer me, and I will also tell you by what authority I do these things. Was the baptism by John from heaven or from men? Answer me." So they began to reason among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say, 'Why is it therefore you did not believe him?' But dare we say from men?" They were in fear of the crowd, for these all held that John had really been a prophet. Well, in reply to Jesus, they said, "We do not know." And Jesus said to them, "Neither am I telling you by what authority I do these things." Accordingly, Jesus, 6 days before the Passover, arrived at Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised up from the dead. Therefore, they spread an evening meal for him there, and Martha was ministering, but Lazarus was one of those reclining at the table with him. Mary, therefore, took a pound of perfumed oil, genuine nard, very costly, and she greased the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet dry with her hair. The house became filled with the scent of the perfumed oil. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, who was about to betray him, said, "Why is it this perfumed oil was not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor people?" He said this, though, not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief and had the money box and used to carry off the monies put in it. Therefore Jesus said, "Let her alone, that she may keep this observance in view of the day of my burial. For you have the poor always with you, but me you will not always have." Therefore, a great crowd of the Jews got to know he was there, and they came, not on account of Jesus only, but also to see Lazarus, whom he raised up from the dead. The chief priests now took counsel to kill Lazarus also, because on account of him, many of the Jews were going there and putting faith in Jesus. The next day, the great crowd that had come to the festival, on hearing that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took the branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, and they began to shout, "Save, we pray you! Blessed is he that comes in Jehovah's name, even the King of Israel." But when Jesus had found a young ass, he sat on it, just as it is written, "Have no fear, daughter of Zion. Look, your king is coming, seated upon an ass's colt." Those things his disciples took no note of at first, but when Jesus became glorified, then they called to mind that these things were written respecting him, and that they did these things to him. Accordingly, the crowd that was with him, when he called Lazarus out of the memorial tomb and raised him up from the dead, kept bearing witness. On this account, the crowd, because they heard he had performed this sign, also met him. Therefore, the Pharisees said among themselves, "You observe you are getting absolutely nowhere. See, the world has gone after him." Now, there were some Greeks among those that came up to worship at the festival. These, therefore, approached Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and they began to request him, saying, "Sir, we want to see Jesus." Philip came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip came and told Jesus. But Jesus answered them, saying, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Most truly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains just one grain. But if it dies, it then bears much fruit. He that is fond of his soul destroys it, but he that hates his soul in this world will safeguard it for everlasting life. If anyone would minister to me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my minister will be also. If anyone would minister to me, the Father will honor him. Now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me out of this hour. Nevertheless, this is why I have come to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Therefore a voice came out of heaven, "I both glorify it and will glorify it again." Hence the crowd that stood about and heard it began to say that it had thundered. Others began to say, "An angel has spoken to him." In answer, Jesus said, "This voice has occurred, not for my sake, but for your sakes. Now there is a judging of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. And yet I, if I am lifted up from the earth, will draw men of all sorts to me." This he was really saying to signify what sort of death he was about to die. Therefore the crowd answered him, "We heard from the law that the Christ remains forever. And how is it you say that the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man?" Jesus therefore said to them, "The light will be among you a little while longer. Walk while you have the light, so that darkness does not overpower you. And he that walks in the darkness does not know where he is going. While you have the light, exercise faith in the light, in order to become sons of the light." Jesus spoke these things and went off and hid from them. But although he had performed so many signs before them, they were not putting faith in him. So that the word of Isaiah the prophet was fulfilled, which he said, "Jehovah, who has put faith in the thing heard by us? And as for the arm of Jehovah, to whom has it been revealed?" The reason why they were not able to believe is that again Isaiah said, "He has blinded their eyes, and he has made their hearts hard, that they should not see with their eyes and get the thought with their hearts, and turn around, and I should heal them." Isaiah said these things because he saw his glory, and he spoke about him. All the same, many even of the rulers actually put faith in him, but because of the Pharisees, they would not confess him, in order not to be expelled from the synagogue, for they loved the glory of men more than even the glory of God. However, Jesus cried out and said, "He that puts faith in me puts faith not in me only, but in him also that sent me. And he that beholds me beholds also him that sent me. I have come as a light into the world, in order that everyone putting faith in me may not remain in the darkness. But if anyone hears my sayings and does not keep them, I do not judge him. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that disregards me and does not receive my sayings has one to judge him. The word that I have spoken is what will judge him in the last day. Because I have not spoken out of my own impulse, but the Father himself who sent me has given me a commandment as to what to tell and what to speak. Also, I know that his commandment means everlasting life. Therefore, the things I speak, just as the Father has told me them, so I speak them.